Yo, what going on? What's going on? It's your boy Teach back with another video, man. We got some powerful information for y'all today. You know what I'm saying? So we want to give all thanks and praise to the Most High for this. For this another uncovery for the team for Drop Nation. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody doing good out there. Hope everybody enjoying themselves. But yeah, I'm coming to y'all today with some information about Moab. You know, it's possible correlations to Utah. You know what I'm saying? And as well as you know, somewhere we might need to be in these end days. So you definitely gonna want to catch this. You know what I'm saying? So watch the whole video, man. Don't sit up there and leave now and then be writing comments, you know what I'm saying, about something that I might have touched on, you know what I'm saying? So rock with me. I need y'all to catch this whole joint right here. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you, I have some questions about Utah in regards to like what its place in our journey, in our movement, in our exodus. You know what I'm saying? Because I hear a lot of people talk about Utah. You know what I'm saying? The brother Lex Will. You know what I'm saying? He big on the Utah part, but I think I'm finally starting to understand what is coming into play. So if you got these same questions, hopefully this video right here help you out. So without further ado, we're gonna get into the drop. Let's go. Yeah, man. So you know, I was telling my bro, man, it ain't over with them cedars. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like I still got some more work to do with these cedars, man. These cedars been taking me places. You know what I'm saying? So over here, shout out to the sis, man, Styles by Nita, man, because I'm gonna tell you, when I first started on this little particular hunt for information, man, it was when I was strolling through the sister's videos. You know what I'm saying? Because shouts out to the sis, man. She got some wonderful information on the page, as well as she had she shared both of my videos. You know what I'm saying? Put them straight up on the page. So give all thanks and praise to the Most High for that. You know what I'm saying? But it was a video I had seen. Let me scroll down, see if I can find it. Hold on, right with me. Let me just go to it. Alright, so we back on the sis page on Styles by Nina. I had to zoom in for y'all a little bit. So this video right here, moving forward and taking a step back. Now that's an interesting title as well, but I didn't check the video out. But what I seen right here, I seen this little map of the Four Corners region, and I see this place right here called Cedar City. I say, dang, so Utah got a Cedar City too? You know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of sparked a couple things. So check this out. Alright, so continuing on with some of the brothers drop, you know what I'm saying, about the places in Deuteronomy 34 and their correlation to certain places in Utah. So we're just going to get a little bit of that. So it say, and Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho, and the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan. Right? So this is all crazy because, okay, you got a Moab, Utah. Right? You got a Mount Nebo, Utah. You feel me? As well, you got the Pisgah, Utah, the Mount Pisgah, Utah. Okay, then you got a Jericho, Utah. You feel me? So just about all these places right here in this verse, you can find them places in Utah. But not only that, let's see what else you can find in Utah. Alright, so you got a Cedar City, Utah. Let's click on that real quick. Get the Wikipedia page for that. Cedar City is in Iron County, Utah. Let's see what, just to give y'all a little background on it. The site is known as Fort Cedar or Cedar City, so it's a Fort Cedar in Cedar City. It says, I'm gonna jump like to right here. It says the completion of a railroad connection to Cedar City in 1923 established the area as a tourism gateway to nearby Bryce Canyon National Park, Zion Zion National Park. That's another thing. There's a Zion National Park in Utah. I can dig on that. I'm not gonna click on it. They say, and the Grand Canyon National Park, in addition to the Cedar Breaks National Monument. So they got a Cedar Breaks National Monument in Utah as well. Cedar City continues to be the center of tourism, commercial development, and education and the arts in southwestern Utah. So in addition to that, you got a Cedar Valley, Utah. In Utah, you got a place called Cedar Valley. You see it right next to Cedar Fort or maybe Cedar City. I don't know if that's the same place, but let's check something out. Okay, all these Cedar Valleys, but okay, we got two of them in Utah. You got a Cedar Valley, Utah county, but it's not a page. A page does not exist for that one. So we're gonna go to the Iron County. Remember, Cedar City was also in Iron County. It says the Cedar Valley of Iron County, Utah, a long valley located on the southeast of the county, against the Hurricane Cliffs, which border the Cedar Mountains. Look at that. So they got Cedar Mountains in Utah. The Cedar Valley borders the southeast of the Escalante Desert, and its north and northwest. Cedar City, Utah lies in the valley center and east at the foothills of Hurricane Cliff. Yeah, man, crazy these places. Man, look at this right here. The historic trail traverses the Cedar Valley from Enoch. You even got an Enoch, Utah. So now with all these places in Utah that bear these biblical Moabite names, as well as the cedar valleys and the cedar cities and stuff like that, relating to what I uncovered in the last video, the shittim wood, the incorruptible wood, which they say cedar is also an incorruptible wood. But not only that, man, you right here you got a place in Utah called Cedar Mountains. You got Cedar Mountains, Utah. So let's check that out. It says Cedar Mountains of Tooele County, Utah. It's a mountain range located in the country's east, bordering the east section of the Great Salt Lake Desert on the range west and southwest flanks. The range contains the Cedar Mountain Wilderness. Damn, look at that. And lies between Skull Valley on its east and southeast and the Great Salt Lake Desert on its west. So the Cedar Mountain Wilderness is located in northwestern Utah, just south of Interstate 80. The vegetation on the upper elevations of the Cedar Mountains is dominated by junipers, referred to as cedars by early pioneers. So look at that, man. You got Cedar Mountains, the Cedar Mountain Wilderness, all right here in Utah. So let's dive into some of this Moabite information. Alright, so we're going to be coming out the King James Bible right here in Numbers chapter 25. And it reads, I'm going to read the first verse. It says, and Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom in Moab. So for y'all who might have not have caught my cedar drop, I'm going to go ahead and hit you with, some of the the Shittim translations. Okay, over here in the East Sword, we're going to go to Exodus chapter 25 verses 10. It says, and the ark of shittim wood. And it says, they shall make an ark of shittim wood, right? Jump down. Verse 13. And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood. So I uncovered that when we went into the Britain Septuagint of these same verses, this is what it has to say about shittim wood. It says in the same verse 25 and 10 in the Britain Septuagint, says, thou shalt make the ark of the testimony of incorruptible wood. See that? It says down here in verse 13, and thou shalt make staves of incorruptible wood. So where the King James says shittim, in the Britain Septuagint it says incorruptible wood. Now when you go over here to 1 Kings chapter 4 verse 33, it says, and he spoke of the trees from the cedar in Lebanon. Talking about the cedar trees in Lebanon. Now you double click on this verse, this is what you get over here. It says the cedar tree. Remember what it showed you? And the inhabitants of Mount Lebanon still call it Arsharif. You know what I'm saying? It says the cedar is a large and noble evergreen tree and grows on the most elevated part of the mountain. It's taller than pine, so thick that 5 men together could scarcely fathom one. It shoots out its branches at 10 or 12 feet from the ground. They are large and distant from each other, and are perpetually green. Evergreen, perpetually green. The wood is of brown color, very solid and incorruptible. See what I'm saying? If preserved from wet, the tree bears a small cone like that of a pine. Okay? So check that out. The wood is very solid and incorruptible. So the cedar is a very incorruptible wood, right? Okay, so we back over here to Numbers chapter 25, and we're going to read the chapter. It says, and Israel abode in Shittim, or this place of incorruptible wood, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab, and they called the people unto sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat, and bowed to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal-Peor. So, take note of this Baal-Peor character, because he's going to be a big part in this video right here. It says, and Israel joined himself unto Baal-Peor, and the anger of the Lord. Hold on one second, y'all. Alright, yeah, sorry about that. I had to take a phone call. Alright, so we back right here in Numbers. And it says, where was we at? Okay. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them before the Lord against the sun. There's probably a reason for that. Remember that though, against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord be turned away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye everyone on his men that were joined unto Baal-Peor. Right? It says, and behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. When Phinehas the son of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. He went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through the belly, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel, and those that died in the plague were 24,000. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas the son of Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest have turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consume not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, and he shall have it, his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God, and made atonement for the children of Israel. Now the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain of the Midianitish woman, was Zimri, the son of Salu, a prince of the chief house among the Simeonites. And the name of the Midianitish woman that was slain was Cosbi, the daughter of Zur. He was head over a people and a chief in the house of Midian. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, vex the Midianites and smite them, for they vex you with their wiles, wherewith they have beguiled you in the matter of Peor, and in the matter of Cosbi, the daughter of the prince of Midian, their sister, which was slain in the day of the plague for Peor's sake. Okay, so from this chapter right here, we get that Israel was dwelling in a place called Shittim, named after the wood there, that they say is the acacia, but as we find it to be a place of incorruptible wood, that is also in Moab, right? And Israel joined themselves unto a false god, Baal-Peor, right? And so Phinehas had to come and you know what I'm saying, appease God's anger, so that his wrath wouldn't be upon the children of Israel. But let's dig a little deeper. Alright, so we at the etymology online, the online etymology dictionary. I want to give a shout out to the bruh Faya for this right here, man. And that Zulu drop he did, man, y'all gotta go check that out. Subscribe to the brother. Fire. You know what I'm saying? But he was saying that, like right here, as he was showing that Baal, the biblical and Hebrew Baal, literally owner, master, Lord. Like the bro Fia was saying, that this was a title that was given really to any false god that the Hebrew Israelites was under. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like probably like right now, if we come out of this captivity, this pagan Jesus Christ, if we was to write text, he would be like Baal. You feel what I'm saying? He would be a master, owner, or lord of a false god of Israel. So, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to get that for y'all. And look, and check this out right here. From Baal, he took possession of, he married. Because, you know what I'm saying? Just like it say in the verse, where it's at, that Israel joined himself unto Baal-Peor. So, you know, it's like he married this foreign and false god. So, now jumping back up here to where it says shittim, because we finna get into these cedars a little bit. We're gonna break away from the Baal-Peor, but we're gonna come back. So we're gonna prove something. But we're gonna do it with the shittim wood, the incorruptible wood, which we find to be the cedar. Alright, so like remember in the cedar droppers we was uncovering that the name for Arsharif is actually cedar forest or cedar land. You know what I'm saying? So when I googled cedar forest, I got two particular links that I'm gonna show you right here in this clip. But right here, this is the Wikipedia page for cedar forest, and I want to show you what it says. We're gonna dig into this cedar forest and this Sumerian Mesopotamian mythology for a second. It says the cedar forest is the glorious realm of the gods of Mesopotamian mythology. It is guarded by the demigod Humbaba. So keep that person right there in mind, Humbaba. So it was guarded by this demigod Humbaba, and was once entered by the hero Gilgamesh, who dared cut down the trees from his virgin stands during his quest for fame. The cedar forest is described in the tablets 4 through 6 as the great epic of Gilgamesh. Early translators of the epic assumed that the cedar forest referred to the Lebanon cedars. Alright, you see that? Okay, so we're going to jump down a little bit. Okay, it says Tablet 4 in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Tablet 4 tells the story of the journey to the cedar forest. On each day of the sixth-day journey, Gilgamesh prays to Shamash. So Gilgamesh prays to this person right here, Shamash. Remember that. That's going to come in play. And in response to these prayers, Shamash sends Gilgamesh oracular dreams during the night. The first is not preserved. In the second, Gilgamesh dreams that he wrestles a great bull that splits the ground with his breath. Enkidu interprets the dream of Gilgamesh. The dream means that Shamash the bull will protect Gilgamesh. And the third, so y'all can dig on this right here. You know what I'm saying? The Epic of Gilgamesh, talking about the epic through the cedar forests that was guarded by the demon Humbaba, and as well as Gilgamesh being a prophet or servant of this god Shamash. So we're gonna jump down a little bit. Okay, so up here, right here, it says, at the entrance to the cedar forest, Gilgamesh begins to quake with fear. He prays to Shamash, reminding him that he had promised Ninth Son that he would be safe. Shamash calls down from heaven, ordering him to enter the forest because Humbaba is not wearing his armor. The demon Humbaba, so Humbaba is a demon, check that out, wears 7 coats of armor, but now he is only wearing 1. So he is particularly vulnerable. Enkidu loses his courage and turns back. Gilgamesh falls on him, and they have a great fight. Hearing the clash of the fight, Humbaba comes stalking out of the cedar forest to challenge the intruders. A large part of the tablet is missing here. On the one part of the tablet still remaining, Gilgamesh convinced Enkidu that they should stand together against the demon. So yeah, that's just something on that. Y'all can go check it out. Right here, I'm gonna just catch this. It says Gilgamesh and Enkidu cut down the cedar forest, in the particular the tallest of the cedar trees, to make a great cedar gate in the city of Nippur. They built a raft out of cedar and floated down the Euphrates to their city. Because remember, you know what I'm saying, the 10 tribes of Israel even crossed the Euphrates to get to Ashra for place of cedar. So it would make sense, you know what I'm saying, that from a cedar forest, you know what I'm saying, they was able to float down to the Euphrates to their city. Alright, so scrolling down a little bit on this page, you see this right here where it says, see also cedars of God. We're going to click on that. It say the cedars of God, or the cedars of the Lord. Look, Ars Arab is one of the last vestiges of the extensive forest of the Lebanon cedar that once thrived across Mount Lebanon in ancient times. Their timber was exploited by the Phoenicians, Egyptians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Romans, Israelites, and Turks. Look at that. And the wood is prized by Egyptians for shipbuilding, and the Ottoman Empire used cedars for railway construction. Alright, let's jump down a little bit. Say the mountains of Lebanon once shaded by thick cedar trees. Okay, you can dig on all that. It say, look, check this out. This forest, once protected by the Sumerian god Enlil, was completely bared of its trees when humans entered its grounds around 4,000 years. Okay. But after winning the battle against the guardians of the forest, the demigods, the story also tells that Gilgamesh used cedar wood to build his city. Okay, you got some more information over here, right here, about cedar, but I want to jump down a little bit. Exploitation of cedar woods led to a decrease in the number of cedar trees in Lebanon. Y'all can dig on this, you know what I'm saying? I'm just skimming through it because I want to give y'all the little drop pieces out of it. Say Lebanon is widely known for its cedar tree history. It say this case on the slopes of Mount Macmel over the tower over the Kadesh Valley, where the cedars of God are found. So by the Kadesha Valley, the cedars of God are found. Let's click on this Kadesha Valley for a second. Kadesha Valley, holy, sometimes called Holy Valley, because you know in the Hebrew, Kadesh means holy, right? So we're gonna get okay right here. It says the holy river Nahar Kadesha runs through the valley for 35 kilometers. I guess it's kilometers. From its source in a cave grotto, a little way before the forest of the cedars of God. Right, that's what we were just reading about. The Kadesha Valley is near the forest of the cedar of God. So the Holy Valley is near the cedar forest or the cedars of God. Survivors of the ancient cedars of Lebanon. The forest is said to contain 375 trees, you know, blah, Lebanon cedar. It's described in ancient works on botany as the oldest tree in the world. It was admired by the Israelites, who brought it to their land to build the first and second temples in Jerusalem. Historical sources report that famous cedar forests beginning to okay. So it's something else we want to get up out of here. Check this out. It say early Christian communities fleeing persecution found refuge in Kadesha. Right? Since the early centuries of Christianity, the Holy Valley has served a refuge for those in search of solitude. So, check that out, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they might need to do the same for us. We don't know. Let's keep going. Now, in regards to all this with the Holy Valley, being right next to the cedars of God, and things of that nature. I'm going to see if I'm going to just click on Forest of the Cedars of God, and it'll take you right back to the Cedars of God page. It said 1998 the Cedars of God were added to the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites. Okay, so see if there's anything else in here. The cedar forest of ancient Mesopotamian religion serves several sections in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Lebanon cedars is frequently mentioned in the Bible. Okay, so now check this out. We're going to jump over here to Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel chapter 31. Check out what this verse right here says in verse 8. It says, the cedars in the garden of God could not hide him. Because it's talking about this Assyrian, right? It says, behold, the Assyrian was a Lebanon and cedar with fair branches. It says, the cedars in the garden of God could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto him in his beauty. That's just a little funny because check this out too. I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of God envied him. So in Eden, and in this garden of God, you got these cedars. Okay, that's a little funny because right here, you got Garden of the Gods right next to Utah and Colorado. You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy right there. Click on some images. See if it'll show us some images. Gotta have some images. Nope. Yeah, so look at this place, and it's full of cedar. It's full of juniper wood too. You know what I'm saying? So check that out. Okay, so like the verse say, you know what I'm saying, the garden of the gods or whatnot. The garden of gods is being associated with cedar, as was stated in the verse, right? And it also brung up Eden, right? So we got cedars in the garden of the God. Now, the page told you that the cedars of God, or the cedars of the Lord, is the extensive forest of the Lebanon cedars. But check this out right here too. Eden is a mountainous town situated in the heart of the northern mountains of Lebanon, and the Mount Lebanon range. Eden is derived from Aramaic meaning mountain, the mountain's base and slope. The location of Eden at the base of Marsarkes mountain supports this explanation. They say the name of Eden comes from Adon. Adonis meaning power, stability, tranquility. It is corroborated, whatever, by the Arabic root HDN, meaning steadiness, calm, fertility. Adon means also the base and the mountaintop, the base and the mountaintop, translating into the top of the mountain and its base. So, what it say? Leaning toward the conclusion that Eden's name is derived from Eden, where Adam and Eve lived following their exit from paradise. So, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can dig on that right there. Check out the Wikipedia page on Eden. You know, look at that. You know, so you got Eden being associated with Lebanon, which is the place of cedar trees, as well as the garden of God being associated with the cedars, the cedar in the garden of God. You see what I'm saying? All associated with cedar trees and Lebanon. So dig on that. Let's get back to some of this Gilgamesh information. Alright, man, appreciate y'all for rocking with me so far, man. This is where it's starting to get real good. You know what I'm saying? When these pieces starting to fall together a little bit. So just bear with me. So remember we was reading about the cedar forest in the Mesopotamian mythology and how it was guarded by the demigod Humbaba, right? As well as Gilgamesh, on the way to this cedar forest, he was basically like a prophet or servant of this god right here, Shamash. So we're going to dig on to see who these people is, Shamash and Humbaba. So Shamash, was the solar deity. Check that out. Solar deity. That's basically a sun god. See what I'm saying? A sun god. So the solar deity or sun god in ancient Semitic religion corresponding to the Sumerian god Utu. So check that out. Okay, Shamash was also the god of justice in Babylon and Assyria. Alright, let's see if there's anything else we need to get on him from this particular page. Another reference to Shamash is the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh. You see, Gilgamesh received dreams from Shamash, which Enkidu interprets. Shamash gifted the hero Gilgamesh 3 weapons. Alright, so let's jump to Humbaba. Okay, so in the ancient Mesopotamian religion, Humbaba, also spelled Humwawa, and surnamed the Terrible, was a monstrous giant of immemorial age raised by Utu the sun, or Shamash, the solar deity, Semitic corresponding to the Sumerian god Utu, the god Samas meaning sun. So Shamash and Utu, same people, right? So Humbaba was the guardian of the cedar forest, where the gods live. Where the gods live, check that out. Cedar forest, where the cedars of the garden of the gods. You know what I'm saying? The person who named Colorado place the garden of the gods, he said because it looked like a place where the gods would dwell, so he called it the garden of the gods. But anyway, so by the will of the god Enlil, who assigned Humbaba as a terror to human beings. Okay, down here in the description it says his face is that of a lion. He looks at someone, it is the look of death. Humbaba's roar is a flood. His mouth is death and his breath is fire. He can hear 100 leagues away any rustling in his forest. Who would go down into his forest? Okay, so y'all dig on that. Let me see if there's anything. I think this might be important. He has paws of a lion and his body is covered with thorny scales. His feet had the claws of a vulture. On his head were the horns of a wild bull. His tail and phallus each ended in a snake's head. Okay. So right here is talking about the demise of when the epic of Gilgamesh and Enkidu coming into the forest, you know, fighting the giant and basically, you know, slaughtering them. Let me see if there's anything here we need to get. Okay. So, okay, well, let's see right here. While Gilgamesh thus distracts and tricks the spirit of the cedar forest, 50 unmarried men is brought on the adventure to felling cedar timber and the branches, laying in it in many piles on the hillside, bringing cedar wood to timberless Mesopotamia. Okay. They compared this right here to Perseus in Greek mythology cutting off the head of Medusa. Right, so we got who Humbaba is, right, and it says up here that Humbaba, surname the Terrible, was raised by Utu, right, which is Shamash. So let's click on that. Utu, Sumerian, sun, Assyro-Babylonian Shamash, right, sun. So it's the same person. It's a sun god, remember, solar deity, and Sumerian mythology. Okay. Utu is the god of sun, justice, application of law, right? And the Lord of truth, or Baal of truth. Because it would be Baal to us, because he ain't our God. You know what I'm saying? Jump down a little bit. Get this out the way. Alright, right here it says the sun god is only modestly mentioned in Sumerian mythology, with one of the notable exceptions being the Epic of Gilgamesh. In the myth, Gilgamesh seeks to establish his name with the assistance of Utu because of his connection with Cedar Mountain. Now look at that. Check that. I ain't got to say too much now, do I? Because of his connection to Cedar Mountain. So this sun god has a connection to Cedar Mountain, right? We're going to dig some more on that. Okay, we clicked on Cedar Mountain, and this is what it brought us to. Mashu. As described in the Epic of Gilgamesh of the Mesopotamian mythology, is a great cedar mountain through which the hero King Gilgamesh passes via the tunnel on his journey to Dilim after leaving the cedar forest. So he go from the cedar forest, he go through the cedar mountain, a forest of 10,000 leagues span. Siduri, the alley wife, lived on the shore associated with the waters of death. Rock with me now. That Gilgamesh had to cross to reach Utna, Pish, Shittim, no, I don't know, but I'm just saying, don't shoot me. The far away. Okay, now check this out. Let me see where I want to start this right here. Yeah, Lebanon. Right here it says, one theory is that the only location suitable for being called a cedar land was the great forest covering Lebanon and western parts of Syria. But check that out. One theory is that the only location suitable for being called a cedar land is Lebanon. Remember, you got these cedars, the cedars of God, all this stuff referring to Lebanon. Arsharif, they still call Lebanon Arsh. Remember that? You know what I'm saying? So keep all that stuff in mind, because it's going to play a role in how we trying to connect Moab with this same mythology. And as well as Moab, remember Utah having a place of cedar mountains, cedar valleys. You know what I'm saying? Remember they abode in Shittim, the place of incorruptible wood. You know what I'm saying? Which is the cedar trees. So let's keep digging. Alright, so just to recap on some things before we move on. Okay, in the cedar forest in the Mesopotamian mythology, the cedar forest is guarded by the demigod Humbaba, right? And the cedar forest refers to the Lebanon cedars as well. Now, on the way to the cedar forest, your boy Gilgamesh is being led by Shamash, which is Utu, which is a Sumerian sun god. Alright, so we got all that in mind. We got Shamash, the marquee players right there. You got your boy, your demigod, the demon Humbaba. Remember, he a demon, right? So we're gonna jump over to this back to the Numbers, and we're gonna dig on Moab. Okay, so coming back to Numbers chapter 25, we right here says, and Israel abode in Shittim, right? Which I believe to be possibly the incorruptible wood or the cedar. This valley, this place of cedar. It says, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. So Shittim is in Moab, right? It says, and they called the people into the sacrifices of their God, and the people did eat and bowed down to their gods. And Israel joined himself to Baal-Peor. So in Moab, in this place of incorruptible wood, the Israelites sinned and transgressed the covenant by joining themselves to this god named Baal-Peor. So let's dig on Baal-Peor. Remember, we got that Baal just means like a lord, master, or owner, someone who we marry to that is not Hail. Alright, just flipping through Wikipedia just to get that general information. You can dig on some deeper documents, but just for the general information, because everybody can go and kind of do their own little digging. So right here we're gonna read about the heresy of Peor. This is the joining of Baal-Peor. It says the heresy of Peor is an event related in the Torah at Numbers 25, 1 through 15, where we basically were just reading, and as well as these other verses right here. We're gonna jump down a little bit. It says, the story proceeds from that of the prophet Balaam, in which he ascends the mountain of Peor. So he ascends the mountain of Peor. So Peor has a mountain. It's called the mountain of Peor. That's important. It says to make sacrifices to God from atop it. Having finished his sacrifices, Baal views the Israelites in the plain of Moab. Although he was hired to curse them, pronounces a blessing over them. So Balaam is sitting at the mountain of Peor, and he is able to view the Israelites in the plain below, which is at Shittim. You see what I'm saying? So he's viewing them while they in Shittim, and he was hired by Balak, king of Moab, to curse them, but instead he ended up blessing them and prophesying their blessed nature and destruction of Moab. So, just jumping down a little bit, it says, according to the Torah, the Israelites, after spending a short time in the plain of Moab, began to involve themselves with the Moabite women, right? And that's what happened right in Shittim. It said they begin to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. Okay, so keep rocking with me. Where we at? It says, consequently, under the influence of Moabite culture that they had joined themselves to, the Israelites began whoring after Moabite gods, right? We just got, and joined themselves to Baal-Peor, and the Septuagint, Baal-Phagor. A Baal, a lord, master, or owner associated with the Mount Peor, associated with this mountain right here that Baal went up to. Alright. So y'all can dig a little bit on the rest of that. So we're gonna jump down into this Baal, this Baal-Peor tab. Now this is where it get crazy, this is where it get rocky. Now check me out. These and the biblical back references are the only ancient records referring to Baal-Peor. There is no way of knowing whether Baal-Peor was identical with any other Baal, of which there were several, or was a local god of Mount Peor. But check this out. Later commentators tend to suppose that this god might be identical with Chemosh. Look at that. Who is called the god of Chemosh, who is called the god of Moab in other biblical texts. Sometimes speculate that the cult of Baal-Peor was very licentious, meaning sexual and just wicked, you know what I'm saying? But so they're connecting Baal-Peor to Chemosh. Now, don't that sound a little bit familiar? But Chemosh is the god of Moab. We're gonna dig into it a little bit more because it's gonna specify who they talking about. We're gonna jump down right here. We're gonna jump down to this Balaam tab. It says, while Balaam is described as a son of Beor with a B, he's described as a son of Beor with a B, is never himself identified. The close phonetic similarity to Peor with the P is noticeable to speakers of English, although there is insignificant similarity in the Hebrew to sustain this claim. But if Beor and Peor are one and the same, then the son of Beor merely identifies Balaam as being a prophet of Baal-Peor. Balaam, but wouldn't that make sense, right? Because what we just read up here, the prophet Balaam ascends to the mountain of Peor and makes sacrifices to the god. So, you know, just jumping back down, it says Balaam is described as building altars at several of the high places of Moab, including at Peor, without even criticizing any Moabite religion occurring at those locations. Entirely plausible if Balaam was a prophet of the Moabite god. See what I'm saying? Entirely plausible. Later in the Bible, with the account of the war of the Midianites, Balaam is described as being amongst those killed for the heresy of Peor. So Balaam is amongst those killed for committing the heresy of Peor. Just basically like, you know, what the Israelites did, implying that Baal was one of those who had joined himself to Baal-Peor. Now check this out. An archaeological find from 1967 from Deir Allah in Jordan produced an ancient inscription written in red and black ink on plastered walls. That red and black ink on plastered walls, telling about the hitherto unknown prophecy from the book of Balaam. Book of Balaam. I know mine's got a little book of Balaam, don't it? The Chilling Balaam or something like that. But anyways, foretelling, check this out right here, foretelling destruction for disobedient to the God. Balaam, though still a son of Peor, in this narrative is a prophet of Shamash, the Semitic sun god. The word Shamash is the Hebrew word for sun, which in Arabic is Shams. If this reflects that God that El refers to in the biblical text concerning Balaam, and the connection between Balaam and Baal-Peor is accurate, then Baal-Peor can be identified with Shamash. So check that out, man. Come on now. The Israelites abiding in Shittim, this place of incorruptible wood, begin to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. Right? They joined themselves to Baal-Peor. Okay? But we just read Baal-Peor is Shamash. Right? Baal-Peor can be identified with Shamash. Or even up here, Chemosh. Who is that? Remember the cedar forest in Mesopotamian mythology? Yeah, Shamash, who is also Utu. Remember, he put your boy Hambaba right there to guard the cedar forest. You see what I'm saying? So is it possible that when the Israelites was boating in Shittim or the cedar forest, that they began to commit whoredom with the god of the cedar forest, Baal-Peor? The god of the cedar forest is who? Shamash. He places Hambaba there to do Hambaba. Let's get it real quick. Hambaba was the guardian of the cedar forest. Was a monstrous giant of immemorable age, raised by Utu, the sun. Click on Utu. We just you know what I'm saying, going through it real fast. Utu, sun. Assyrio-Babylonian Shamash, sun, the sun god in Sumerian. So in the place of cedar, in Shittim, they joined to Baal-Peor, which is the god of the cedar forest that placed the demon there, right? Shamash, he placed Hambaba, and as we read, Chemosh, then Baal-Peor can be identified as Shamash. Remember in Utah, what I showed you, you got Cedar Valley, you got Cedar Mountain, remember? Remember Mashu? Utu, remember Utu? He had direct connection to the Cedar Mountain. Let me get it for you real fast. I know I'm skipping around, y'all. Just bear with me, man, because it's just crazy. Okay, so if Utu is Shamash, right? This person, Gilgamesh, seeks to establish his name with the assistance of Utu because of his connection with Cedar Mountain. Okay, now that's crazy, right? Because this Utu, right, is a god on Cedar Mountain, but Baal-Peor, remember Balaam goes up to the mountain of Peor to make sacrifices to God, where Baal views the Israelites on the plain below in the Cedar Valley of Shittim. You see what I'm saying? So he's on the Cedar Mountain. He's on the mountain of Peor. Peor can be identified as Shamash. Shamash is Utu. Utu is the god of the Cedar Mountain. You see what I'm saying? So, y'all dig on that? You know what I'm saying? Utu, because of his connection with Cedar Mountain. You know? So that's crazy, man. You got these Moabite places. Oh, let me get this right here. I can't believe I forgot to get this. Okay, so let's say this is just a little bit on the Cedar Forest, in the Gilgamesh epics. Europe was a busy city on the flat Mesopotamian plain near the banks of the Euphrates River. Remember that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, they could bring back some wood from the cedar forest. Cedar wood was special for many reasons. Cedar trees grew very tall and straight. Long timbers could be used for roof beams and doors in temples and palaces. The wood was good for building because it lasted many, many years without decaying. Basically displaying a incorruptible wood. The rich smell of the cedar wood in the palaces and the temples was very pleasant because it's also an incense. So man, y'all dig on that, man. The cedar, you know what I'm saying, the cedar drop is crazy. Because now we can see that these Moabite gods are the gods of the Sumerian culture. But the gods of the Sumerian culture are gods of the cedar forest. You see what I'm saying? These Moabite gods are the gods that the Israelites joined themselves to as shittim, but they always telling us that shittim is the acacia meadows. Okay, just to even show you, I'm gonna go right here. This verse is on about Numbers 24. It says, while the Israelites stayed at Shittim, they say, I'm gonna jump up a little bit. It say, then Balaam set out back home, and Balak went his way after he had Balak hired Balaam to bless the Israelites, to curse them, but instead he blessed them. So they went their way while the Israelites stayed at Shittim. The people went a whoring with the Moabite women. Let's click on Shittim. You see that? Shittim. See? Was an ancient city east of the Jordan River in Moab. Abel Shittim, meaning meadow of acacias, found only in Numbers 33:49, but Ha-Shittim, meaning the acacia, is the same place. So they telling us that Shittim means acacia, but we can see that it clearly is talking about these cedar trees. All right, this is on Balak right here. Balak was the king of Moab who hired Balaam to curse the children of Israel. This is a different tab though. Balak Parsha is different. It's different from the other block, but it's the same person, but it just has different information. So this right here is the reading where Balak was, the whole story of him hiring Balaam to do it, but Balaam told him he could only do what God told him to do and say what God told him to say. So when he went to go curse him, instead God told him to say a blessing. So you know what I'm saying, he did that. And see it say Balak took Balaam to the peak of Peor where they offered. You see what I'm saying? So in fact, Balaam was in fact a prophet of Peor, excuse me. Peor, who? Shamash, right? The god of the cedar forest. So we're gonna keep going, because we're gonna jump right here. Now, to prove that Shittim is the cedar forest, check this out. Or a valley of cedar, that's what I meant to say. To prove it's a valley of cedar, check this out right here. Okay, it say Psalms 1:3 interprets the word cedars beside the waters in Balaam's blessing in Numbers 24:6. According to Psalms 1:3, a tree planted by the streams of water is one that brings its fruit in seasons whose leaf does not wither. So we can dig in on it. Okay, so to dig in that, right, we up here at number 25 where it say Israel abode in Shittim. But let's just go one chapter back. Alright, check this out. Okay, so one chapter back in Numbers 24, in Numbers chapter 24 it says, when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord to bless Israel, he went not as the other times to seek for enchantments, but he set his face toward the wilderness. It says, and Balaam lifted up his eyes. Hold on. And Balaam lifted up his eyes and saw Israel abiding in his tents, according to their tribes. And the Spirit of God came upon him. And he took his parable and said, Balaam, son of Beor, hath said, and the man whose eyes are open hath said, he hath said which heard the words of God, which saw the visions of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. So now he's sitting up here on a, remember what he did to that? We're going to go back a little bit. Okay. Balaam views the Israelites on the plain below. He's at the mountain of Peor, or the Cedar Mountain. You know what I'm saying? But it says, so at this mountain where he's looking at the children and thinking to curse them, and he blesses them instead. Continuing reading, he says, how goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel. As the valleys, look at this, as the valleys are spread forth as gardens by the river's side, as the trees of lying aloes, which the Lord hath planted, and as cedar trees beside the water. So look at that. Where Balaam lifted up his eyes and he saw Israel abiding in his tents, right? Where Balaam views the Israelites on the plain below, where they abode at, which was in Shittim, as it tells you right here, while the Israelites stayed at Shittim when Balak set out back home. So at this Cedar Valley, what we find them to be Cedar Valley, Balaam also says, as the valleys are they spread forth as gardens. Remember, the cedars are the gardens of God, the cedars of God, the cedars of the Lord, as gardens by the river's side, as the trees lying aloes, which the Lord hath planted, and as cedar trees beside the waters. So boom, this place is definitely turning out to be a place of cedar trees. Okay, coming back to the Baal-Peor page, we're going to click right here on shamash, just to make sure it's referring to shamash as it did further below. Or shamash, shall I say. Shamash was the god of the Moabites. The etymology of shamash is unknown. It is speculated to be related to the name of the Babylonian deity Shamash. He is also known from Elba as Kamish. Chemosh was the national deity of the Moabites, whose name meant like destroyer, subduer, or fish god. Okay? So boom, you're digging on that. According to the Hebrew Bible, the worship of this god is the abomination of Moab. Right? On the Moabite stone, Mesha. So let's dig on that, man. Chemosh, man, is shamash. Okay, shamash is the god of the cedar forests. Chemosh is the god of Moab, as well as the abomination of Moab. So when the Israelites joined themselves to Baal-Peor, which is Shamash, they joined themselves to a cedar forest god in the place of the incorruptible wood, or the cedar wood. Remember, Israel abode in Shittim. Okay, so we right here at Baal-Peor. Baal-Peor. This is the name of Baal-Peor that's in the Britain Septuagint. This is how the Britain Septuagint says his name. And on this page it says, in demonology, remember, demonology, Lord of God, Baal-Peor is a demon, one of the 7 princes of hell, who helps people make discoveries. He seduces them by suggesting ingenious inventions to make them rich. You know, all kind of stuff that probably the most I ain't really dealing with. Baal-Peor originated as the Assyrian Baal-Peor. See what I'm saying? The Moabitish god whom the Israelites became attached in shittim, right? On which associated the licentious and orgies, and it was worshipped in the form of a phallus. As a demon, he is described in Kabbalistic writings as the disputer, or enemy of the six, whatever, Sumerian beauty, whatever. He grants riches, power of discovery, and ingenious invention. His role as a demon was to sow discord among men, seduce them to evil through the approaching of wealth. Now look at this, the palindromic prime number. This number right here, his number, Baal-Peor's prime, due to its significance, containing the number 666 and enclosed by 13 zeros. So this dude right here, Baal-Peor, is a demon. You see what I'm saying? That's his number. 666 is his number. He's a demon, right? He's Baal-Peor. Baal-Peor is shamash or chamosh, right? Now, remember how they call him a demon? Because if I'm not mistaken, Humbaba, the guardian of the cedar forest, who is called the Terrible, okay, just like the national deity of the Moabites, Chemosh, was whose name most likely meant destroyer or subduer. Okay, so coming back to Humbaba, right? We're gonna scroll down a little bit. Look, phallus. Remember they was talking about phalluses because it's part of a licentious cult. You see what I'm saying? Okay. The demon Humbaba. Remember? Humbaba is the guardian of the cedar forests. Right? It is guarded by the demigod Humbaba. The demon Humbaba was placed there by Shamash. Shamash is Baal-Peor. Peor is what? Is a demon. So that'll let you know that when our people was in this land of cedar, and they committed whoredom of the daughters of Moab, and they joined themselves unto this demon, unto this God, our people was not happy. Our God was not happy. Excuse me. Yeah, all right. So you know what I'm saying. In conclusion, man, I just want to bring some things together. You know, just looking at this information and giving all thanks and praise to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? What we could take from it, man. And I'm gonna share this with y'all because I love y'all. But I'm gonna tell you, man, don't it seem like every time we leave a captivity, every time we have an exodus, right? It seems like we go into a place of cedar, you know what I'm saying? A place of cedar. Cedar land, cedar forests. When we left Assyrian captivity, we went into Arsharif, which is literally means cedar forest, just like when we left Egyptian captivity and we abode in shittim and was worshiping gods of the cedar forest. You see what I'm saying? So it's like every time we leave captivity, we go to a place of cedar trees, man. You know what I'm saying? And this place in Utah right here, just looking at it, it has all the places and the names of Moab, but it also has the cedar valleys. You see what I'm saying? It also has the cedar forests, cedar mountains, cedar city. You see what I'm saying? Cedar Creek, Cedar National Monument Park. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something to really think about, man, because like I say, every time we leave captivity, you always got to go in the wilderness and get cleansed and get purged before you step into the Holy Land. So we go amongst the sacred trees, the holy cedar wood that purifies, cleans the air, you know what I'm saying? Has all type of ceremonial, ritualistic properties to it. And not only that, but guess what? The cedar is an incorruptible wood, right? Remember it said the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon, was like a cedar in Lebanon. You know how the Bible always compares us to trees, because you know we are trees. You know, you got a family tree, you have children. That's like your roots, your branches that branch off from your loins. So, you know what I'm saying, we might have to go into a place of cedar during the Exodus, because we must be incorruptible wood. We must be incorruptible trees. We must be hijack free. You feel what I'm saying? And we must be incorruptible by these false Baal, these false gods, you know what I'm saying, these false customs and religions and all of that, you know what I'm saying, that we joined ourselves to. We must be like the cedars and be incorruptible. Okay, so I just want to say love, man, you know what I'm saying? Kind of concluding the video with some pictures of Zion National Park, Utah. But for those of y'all who stayed with me, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to give y'all this jewel, whether you've known it or not. If you have, that's cool. But just to piece it together and you know, just thinking about our exodus and our salvation from this wicked system, this wicked captivity, check this out. We're going to go back over to the east sword, and we're going to go to 2nd Maccabees, and we're going to go and read verses 4, start at verse 4. Right here, and it says, it was also contained in the same writing that the prophet, being warned of God, commanded the tabernacle, the ark, to go with him. This is speaking of the prophet Jeremiah. You're going to see. It says, so, being warned of God, commanded the tabernacle and the ark of the covenant to go with him, as he went forth into the mountain where Moses climbed up and saw the heritage of God. So the prophet took the ark and the tabernacle to where Moses climbed up and seen the heritage of God. And when Jeremy, speaking of the prophet Jeremiah, and when Jeremiah came thither, he found a hollow cave, wherein he laid the tabernacle and the ark and the altar of incense, and so stopped the door. So he put these right here in this hollow cave he found. That's at where Moses climbed up and saw the heritage. And some of those that followed him came to mark the way, to try to mark it, but they could not find it. Which when Jeremiah perceived, he blamed them. When he saw what they was doing, he blamed them, saying, as for that place, it shall be unknown until the time that God gather his people again and receive them unto mercy. You know what I'm saying? So, give all thanks and praise to the Most High, because the Ark of the Covenant is supposed to remain unknown and hidden until God gathers his people to get together, when he gathers his people again together and receive unto mercy. So when his people start to make that exodus out of captivity, you see what I'm saying? He receives them unto mercy and bring them back. They supposed to go to this place and recover the Ark of the Covenant. You see what I'm saying? Which is at where Moses climbed up and saw the heritage of God. Which, according to what we read and what we know, we can find that place, right? And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of Pisgah that is over against Jericho, and the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan. You know what I'm saying? Jump down to verse 4, it says, and the Lord said unto him, this is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. This is the inheritance right here. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go thither. So the mountain in which Moses saw the inheritance of God, which he saw right here, as we know, is the plains of Moab. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, looking at this place right here, Zion National Park, you got Moab, Utah, Pisgah, Utah, Mount Nebo, Utah. You see what I'm saying? You got Cedar City, Cedar Valley, Cedar Mountain, Cedar Breaks, National Monument. You see what I'm saying? So, could this be a possible place now where we might need to be? Shoot, man. All praise to the Most High. Y'all brothers been on it. You feel what I'm saying? We might definitely need to be in this place, or places like it. You know, like the brother 422 job, he ain't saying that if you don't come to Utah, you know what I'm saying, you ain't gonna make it, or something like that. but we might definitely got some business to take care of here. You see what I'm saying? So y'all dig on that, man. Let me know what's up. It's your boy Teach Me to Be Priestly. You know what I'm saying? We out. Give all thanks and praise for the day. Until next time. Oh, hold on, family. I ain't done. I forgot I got to hit you with one more thing. Now check this out. It say Hebrew priests were ordered by Moses to use the bark of the Lebanon cedar in the treatment of leprosy. The Hebrew prophet Isaiah used Lebanon cedar as a metaphor for pride of the world. Now check this out. The Hebrew priests were ordered by Moses to use the bark of the Lebanon cedar to treat as a treatment for leprosy. So we all know leprosy is the losing of pigmentation of melanin, right? So check this out now. The Most High tells, the priest, he orders the priest to use the bark from the Lebanon cedar to treat leprosy. Now we uncovered that in the last series that Lebanon means whiteness, because we know Laban, his name itself means white. So Lebanon means whiteness. So he tells them to use the bark of the tree of whiteness to cleanse whiteness, right? Because even if you look at it, Lebanon, right? There's no vowels in the Hebrew, right? So you will write it LBN. Let me do it up here for you. It will be Lebanon, right? LBN. Now, leprosy, we can equate leprosy to albino or albinism, right? But when you look at these words, albino is to be white. You see what I'm saying? You look at the baby down here, the African albinos. Look at the white baby. So, okay, if Hebrew don't got vowels, the same way we did with Lebanon, you write the consonants, and it's what? L, B, N. It's the same thing as Laban. So with the cedars of whiteness, you see what I'm saying? With the cedars of whiteness, the bark of the cedars of whiteness, you are able to cleanse the leprosy or the albinism or the whiteness, the diseased whiteness. Now check this out. Check out this link right here that somebody sent me. It says Myth of the Cedars of Lebanon. Look at this quote by Juan Valera. It says, if in the end I should conquer, glorious will be the victory, but I shall owe it to the Queen of Angels, under whose protection I place myself. She is my refuge and my defense, the tower of the house of David, on whose walls hang innumerable shields and the armor of many valiant champions. Check this out. The cedars of Lebanon, which puts the serpent to flight. Alright, now we're going to jump over here to Revelation 12 just real quick. Speaking about the woman, right? The woman being symbolized as the children of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can catch that. I'm going to just jump right here to verse 6. It says, and the woman fled into the wilderness, right? Children of Israel fled into the wilderness, where she have a place prepared of God, right? Waiting on them, that they should feed her there 1,200 and 60 days, right? Now this has some reference to Daniel, so check that out. Okay, and there was a war in heaven, which is also mentioned in Daniel, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. Now check this out. And prevailed not, neither at their place found any more in heaven. You jump down to verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels was cast out with him. So, you know what I'm saying? Children of Israel go into the wilderness. Go up a little bit. Okay, right here. Children of Israel flee into the wilderness, right? Where they got a place prepared to them of God. Right? And where the old serpent is defeated, right? Well, the old serpent is defeated. Now the old serpent who deceived the whole world, who deceived the whole world? Huh? Is it somebody who probably look like they got leprosy or something? Huh? And you cleanse leprosy, albino or whiteness with the Lebanon cedar? Huh? And the cedars of Lebanon, which push the serpent to flight? Hey, get your ass to the land of them cedar trees, man. So we can get up out of here. All praise to the Most High.